You know, bubbles are invisible to those who live in them, right? And sometimes it's those who are standing outside who can see them most clearly. Now, what I'm about to say may be a little unnerving, but I want you to know that it comes from a place of love and without judgment. So my birth certificate says Retreat St. Mary. I'm a rural country girl at heart. My father was a farmer, my mother a hairdresser in Ocho. And yeah, we lived by the river in Retreat. And so I was surrounded by community. I was built by the community. That was my anchor. I had more aunties than I could count, and not by blood, but by heart, by value system, by morale. And my earliest memory is being 3 years old, being held by some of those aunties, walking up a steep hill to a grave digging. And it sounds somber, maybe, you know, people might not understand why grave diggings were so important in rural Jamaica, but it was about community. And I remember the laughter, I remember the singing, the food shared hand to hand, people cooking. And even in the grief, there was love because they came together to dig someone's grave. Even in that loss, there was community. And when we moved to Kingston later on, when I was older, every summer, my parents would send me back to St. Mary, to the hills, to my cousins, to the laughter, to the smell of wood smoke and food cooking outside, and earth when it was wet after rain. You know, we climbed every tree, we cooked in paint pans, we played by the beach, we caught peony wallies at night. We never went to sleep. That was freedom, and we loved it. Tix Tech Week. But that was a Jamaica I knew. That's a Jamaica I know. And you see, I'm and will always be a rural country girl with a Kingston address. It's just my soul. And that balance, that duality has really shaped who I am, what you see, and how I see this island and our people. Because the truth is, much of who we are as Jamaicans, or kindness, or humility, or resilience, or pride, or dignity, was built in those small rural communities where people shared what little they had. And so my entire life has been spent roaming inner carvings of Jamaica, learning, helping. And when I became a member of parliament, I saw it repeatedly. You know, when a woman came and sat in front of me and said, "Boy, MP, I beg a few sheets of zinc and some ply." Why? Come one bill, I'll go one room for me and I pick them. And even in that moment, she still said, "Miss Lisa, I'm gonna manage." And I say, "You sure?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna manage, no worry about it." And that is the culture. People resilient, people working, farmers sharing. When them dig a piece of yam, they make sure Miss Elsie down there so get peace if she don't have none. And so if them cut piece of pumpkin and them know somebody down the road don't have, they're gonna send a piece to their neighbor so nobody would go hungry. That's the Jamaica I know. That's the Jamaica I love. And that's why I talk about the bubble, the invisible walls that separate us, city from country, privilege from poverty, Kingston from almost everywhere else. Because Hurricane Melissa didn't just tear through homes in the southwest and northwest of this country. It stripped away illusions. It showed us how fragile our divisions are. And I believe, whether by divine intervention or some kind of ancestral grace, Jamaica was not entirely decimated. And I believe that was not by accident. It is and was a reminder, a divine reminder of our shared humanity and how we are as Jamaicans and what we need to be to one another and our shared responsibility. So yes, now we stand at a watershed moment, because as we rebuild roofs and homes and roads, we must also rebuild our sense of belonging to one another. This is why I want to say, and forgive me, I'm not being judgmental, because we all in our own way handle grief differently, but we must never be dissonant. And so that's why I'm saying every Kingstonian, yes, every one of us that has a Kingston address has an obligation to give something, whether it is a day in volunteering in the West, or to help a family in some way recover in the Northwest or Southwest. Every Kingston student or child, from a basic school to a secondary school, has a responsibility to write a letter, draw a picture, send a note to another child who has lost everything. Because the truth is, they are our sisters. They're our brothers. They're our mothers. They're our fathers. They're the ones that feed us. They keep our economy going. They're our grandparents, and there would be no us without them. So you see, as we look around the island, yeah, we're bruised, but we're not unbroken. And so we need to remember this, that our strength as Jamaicans, even in the world, our strength has never been in our wealth or our walls, but in our willingness to love each other through the storm. Because yeah, bubbles are beautiful. You can see them, they shimmer, they glisten in the light from the outside. You can't see them with your inside, but they're fragile. And sometimes they must burst for us to truly see one another again. And maybe that's what this moment is about. It's a divine reminder to step outside the bubble, to reach across the divides of class and comfort, and yes, to stand again in the soil of our shared humanity. Because in the end, Jamaica has never been defined by its storms, but by the spirit that carries us through them. The same spirit that built this nation from riverbank and red dirt, from faith, from struggle, from love. And when we choose to see each other clearly, not through walls, not through bubbles, not through fear, but through the eyes of compassion, yeah, that's when Jamaica becomes whole again. And that's when we will not only rebuild stronger, but we will reset our humanity longer. By now, most of you know that Jamaica just experienced the most catastrophic hurricane in our history. A Cat 5 monster named Melissa, whose apocalyptic devastation in places like Black River, St. Elizabeth, words can't even describe it. And yes, we have experienced hurricanes before, we've experienced storms, faced them head on, and as Jamaicans, we do come out on the other side because of our resilience and our courage. It's just who we are, and we help to rebuild compassionately together. So yes, we will hold on, we will breathe. We've lost our roofs, we've lost some spirit, we've lost some things. But what we haven't lost is how we face adversity together. Because we're never bludgeoned by adversity, we actually rise to meet it. And as a result, we know that the same sky that brought this storm will bring the sunlight. And that together, whether through screens, whether through parishes, whether through the world, as Jamaicans, we are going to champion our spirit, our neighborly love, and we're going to get through this together. We also know that many of you want to help from across the world. Many of you have been DMing me, asking if we're okay, praying for us. And I just want to say the government has set up a website for donations and also for getting more information. I urge you to use that website. Don't let anybody call you. Don't let anybody say, well, you can give it to us. I've put it in the caption. And I want to just thank you for your prayers, for your love. You know, Jamaica is a beacon in the world, and we continue to be that beacon. We punch way above our weight class, and I know you're thinking of us. And, you know, it's moments like these where we recognize how loved we are, and we just want to tell you we love you too. And to each and every Jamaican, both in Jamaica and around the world, don't worry yourself. We're going to get through this. Thank you.